Welcome back, Full Heel Podcast. I am your host, Rafael Chaidez, the host of the Full Heel Podcast. Please hit that red subscribe button right under the video. Check me out on all audio platforms, iTunes, Podbean, Stitcher. All that good stuff. I'm joined today by my guest, Ryan. What's going on, Ryan?
Hey, thanks for having me back. I'm happy to be here to dive into some different waters for a change. So I'm excited to have some fun here tonight.
First off, congratulations on the NBA title, Canada.
We the North! We the champs! Chips and dip!
I want the chips. Give me the chips. I want the chips with the dip. I don't know what that means. I hate Drake. Never liked his music. But that's a different podcast.
He started from the bottom. Now we're here. That's all that matters. That's all that matters.
Please don't, right?
I think that's the only Drake reference I think I know is that one title, and that and Degrassi High. Like that's about it.
The one where he's in a wheelchair, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So is this Canada's first NBA title? Vancouver never won one when they were up there.
No. Vancouver was always like bottom of the league, and then they got shipped out to Memphis, and then Toronto's kind of had like that.
Yeah, because there's a ton of Grizzlies in Memphis.
They just had like that expansion team, right? Like garbage with Spike Gear, garbage, and then just kind of building, and just. Like, I've been saying to everyone all week, it's wild to like follow a team for 24 years. Not like a diehard fan, but I like to see them do good. But it's crazy to watch the game, see them lift the trophy, see the parade, hear people talk about it. And I'm still like, did it happen? Like, did Toronto actually do this? Like, it's insane to think about. But yeah, first time in 26 years for a Canadian team to win a title.
That's what's up.
Period.
I was a little spoiled growing up. I had Jordan's 2 3-peats growing up. I had Space Jam. So all I knew was us dominating in the NBA. And then I understood what LeBron was. LeBron was a curse to the Chicago Bulls' division on us because we had Michael Jordan. It's only fair.
Right.
It's only fair.
It's how sports goes, right?
Yeah. So it was our time to shine. It just I wish I was maybe a little bit older so I could have bought tickets, gone to the games. I got to go to 2 games during the last year. My cousin took me to Vancouver Grizzlies game and Milwaukee Bucks game, probably the lower teams in the division, and that's why we got tickets towards the end. And it was the last championship year that they with the ugly ass hats that looked like they had like feathers, like different multicolored feathers coming out from the championship thing.
Yeah.
But also, as Jeff got to see when he came by, I live on Damon, so straight down is the United Center, and every time they would win every year for those 6 years, beep 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 beep, because we're right by the stadium, stadium. So, like I said, I was a little bit spoiled. I'm glad that someone else besides Golden State won it. I do not want anyone else conquering that dynasty.
Right.
Like they had 2 3-peats in a row, and I wish Jordan wouldn't have fucking played baseball for that time. We could have had 8. We could have had 8 in the fucking.
See, I'm always torn because I love seeing history, but I also love like the what if aspect. Like
that's a big what if.
Like because when Jordan left, people think that the Bulls were garbage, but when Jordan left, the Bulls finished 3rd in the East. They weren't a terrible team. It was just the playoffs they were missing, like that leadership and that drive. And then when he came back in the 95 season, when he came back, he was just getting into basketball shape by the time the season was really over. So they were at a disadvantage both of those years. But it's fun to think like would they have matched the Celtics 8 in a row? Like what would they have met that Shaq team and not been able to beat that Magic team? Like, could they beat the Rock? There's so many what ifs, and it's fun to imagine what. And it's what I like sports about is you see history, or you can imagine what if about history. Mm-hmm. So
and now Anthony Davis joining Bron on the Lakers. It's gonna be a crazy good team.
Yeah,
well, if they get shit situated and they're gonna add more stuff.
They got tons of room now that they cleared up some contract space and
you got rid of
and all of a sudden all of a sudden you see everybody's like, I'm opting out. I'm not playing my last year. So I'm using my option. I'm gonna go elsewhere.
Well,
And like the second Davis was traded, everyone's like, I'm out. I'm out. I want to go see if LA wants me now. Like it's
you got Braun in the brow.
Be a fun couple of weeks, man. A fun couple of weeks coming up.
Yeah. Yeah. So congratulations on that NBA title.
5 more and we're tying you guys. Watch out.
Yeah, but you guys are losing Kawhi, so I'm not worried.
No, God,
if you guys kept them, then it'd be like, oh well, they the first year after acquiring him, they fucking go to the fucking they win the title.
The greatest, yeah, that's what I said. Like this is the greatest year. Like if he leaves, it's all good. I don't care. Like he came, he did what he was supposed. Yeah. Did you see that at the parade?
Oh, I didn't see it at the parade, but Crystal Lee has been making fun of it since it happened on TV.
Yeah. So at like the very end of the parade, he gives his speech about Toronto, the Raptors, blah 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 blah, and he goes, and the crowd, everyone just blows up and goes crazy. It was wild.
Kawhi. Hey, dude, that's gonna get him some fucking some fans.
He's gonna get. He gets he's eligible for 140 million in 29 teams, and if he stays with Toronto, he gets 190. So it's gonna be interesting to see where if he wants to go to the Clippers or make that extra 50 mil. See what happens.
Yeah, because he said he wasn't interested in going to the Lakers, right?
Yeah, it's basically supposedly it's down to the Clippers and the Raptors, but these things happen all the time where someone's like, hey, what's the difference? You got, LeBron and AD or the Clippers. Like,
Yeah, I used to know a lot more about basketball and other sports, but especially when I started the podcast, I just left all the other sports behind. I had no time, so I know very little. I don't know who's on the Clippers anymore. I don't know who's on the other team you mentioned that he might go to.
Raptors.
We'll stay in the Raptors.
Stay in the Raptors. Yeah, but it's funny because I used to know a lot more about basketball, but after we moved to Kitchener, just tons and tons and tons of Raptors coverage. Just because like all Toronto-based teams are covered so heavily in this area, so I can tell you so much about teams that I can't stand, and I can't tell you like hardly anything about teams that I used to know like depth charts about. So I have other interests now too. Like I've gotten more into MMA. I'm falling back into wrestling pretty hardcore. So there are those changes also. If I wanted to see the information, Google's right there. So it is on me as well.
Yeah, I've been doing these a lot more, like I said, because of your help, and then I've just been scheduling a lot better my time to do fight companions and then schedule these, and then like I'm having Jesus over Friday, and we're going to do a new segment where it's gonna be a little hard. I don't know if it might be like 2 hours long, this fucking episode. I'll see how it goes the first time, but he chose 3 matches and I chose 3 matches, and we're gonna break them down and go over them. So 3 of our favorite matches.
Like by one person or just overall?
Overall, like he picked he picked 3 different ones, and I picked 3 different ones, and we're gonna watch them, all 6 of them, and then talk about them on Friday.
That's pretty cool.
But it might be super long episode, so I might do 3 and 3. I might give him the 2 and do 1 of mine, and then the next episode do 2 of mine and 1 of his.
Right.
Or do all 3 of his, and the next episode do all 3 of mine.
Are you gonna watch them live, watch them on the show, or are you gonna watch them ahead of time? Or
I already watched the ones that he sent me ahead of time. I'm just gonna rewatch mine, but I'll put out the links probably because he gave me the YouTube links, and then the ones I've chosen are pretty much on the network. And if they're not, then I'll put up the link on the actual video itself for this. But yeah, so we're gonna do that, and me and you were talking maybe we should break down individual wrestlers and stuff like that. So new segments come to the
I know that if you listen to a lot of those what's his name, Conrad Thompson, his whole gaggle of podcasts, they do a lot of either pay-per-views or they do break down a wrestler's whole career, and I thought it might be cool for us instead of doing the career, because at this point in time, so many people know a lot about careers. And I thought, why don't we talk about obscure matches that guy was in that a lot of people don't know about, but you love or I love and stuff like that. Because there's a lot of these guys have been going for 20, 30 years, and there's no way that people are familiar with every single match. So there's a lot of with wrestling and with MMA, there's so many things you can do. So it's cool to see like how you're branching off and going into different things. So
Just as keep going, the show will progress and probably just do different stuff. Like I'm coming on 3 years, July, what was it, 13th? Something like that, and there's a fight companion that day. So I'm going to have a fight companion, then I got to get an anniversary episode with Jesus if I can get one in that week. So, I'm just going to keep going. I don't do this for money. Eventually, if it becomes for money, that'll be fucking awesome. But I like watching wrestling. I like talking about wrestling. I like talking with my friends about wrestling, having fight companions with my friends. It's fun. It's a fun hobby. And if for someday, I'm going to keep pushing for money, though. It's not like I'm not going to keep fucking.
Well, yeah, if the options come there, like if it builds up to that, why not?
Yeah, that's definitely the end goal of it, is getting monetization out of this and getting money out of this. But if it doesn't happen, to me, it wasn't a failure. I began it to fucking talk wrestling with Jesus. He would come over and we'd watch wrestling, and then we'd hang out and talk and talk and talk. And then, I listen to podcasts, and I'm like, let's start a podcast. And here we are. And we've grown a little bit, and I appreciate all the fans we have. So please go ahead and share this so it keeps growing. And like I said, maybe one day get monetization for this. And then I could quit my job and stay at home and do this all day.
And your guest would get a percentage, right?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Not in Canadian funds either.
In loonies? Dude, well, I was thinking about it. Like, if I keep growing, but in 2020, recreational marijuana is going to be legal. Maybe I could start reaching out to small companies that can sponsor the show to give me free weed.
That would be cool. Yeah, that would be cool.
Give me free weed and I'll talk about your fucking weed. We smoke a shit ton of weed. I can roll joints on fucking air. I could talk about the strain. I could break down how it is. I'm a 10-year smoker, over 10 years. I started in 2008. It's 2019. So I'm an over 10-year smoker, and I've consistently gotten hard at it. So I think I know what I'm talking about in the weed department. Even grown it in times. I shouldn't say where or when.
But statute limitations. Just give it another year and you're good.
Yeah. Definitely not now. I wouldn't do that to my dad. I don't want to fucking lose the house. Mexican guy paid for his house. Government definitely wants to get that shit.
Those are tomato plants. What are you talking about?
Yeah, that's it. It's tomato plants.
For some reason, I just can't get them to grow tomatoes. Like,
no, I did it in Champaign when I was at college. I took the biggest room with an extra closet. Boom, threw 'em in there. Yeah, that was the time to do it. But yeah, maybe one day I could get sponsorship and then eventually money. But that can only happen if you guys share, subscribe, rate, and review. It doesn't cost you anything, and hundreds of episodes, thousands of hours of content. And yeah, I guess we should get to it, Ryan.
Yes, let's go.
So if you guys haven't read the title by now, it is NXT TakeOver 25. So I guess this is the 25th installment of a TakeOver. I'm guessing they do 5 per year. I think they've been around for 5 years.
Because they do them right before like the main pay-per-views, and then
so
or like a super show kind of thing, like what just happened the other week.
Yeah, because it said 5 years ago, and it's TakeOver 25. So I'm guessing that's what it's gonna be. Let's see. I guess I can grade it towards the end, but it was I hate that this pay-per-view is overshadowed by AEW. AEW had a badass pay-per-view all in the same day,
That's right.
the same weekend. So this one got super overshadowed. Not a lot of people were talking about it. When people talk about the shitty quality that WWE puts out, they're definitely not talking about NXT, and that's because they don't watch it. You have to look for NXT. You have to physically go for yourself and go into the network, go to NXT while it's playing, or look for it after the fact.
Yeah.
So it sucks that some of their best storytelling / wrestling is done on their unwanted redheaded stepchild that they only give us an hour of. And you know what? To be honest, this probably should only be an hour because once they start expanding, they're gonna want to start adding story and
Yeah.
nonsense, and it's not. I don't think it's gonna work out. I think it works out in this instance because of the time restraints and because they focus on the wrestling talent with some coherent story. It doesn't have to be the most elaborate story. Just has to make sense, and they have to put on a badass wrestling match, and that's all we want, really.
Yeah, and it's funny too. Like, I know the last couple times that I've been on, we went hard on WCW. We went hard on WWE. And I was watching this. I'm like, you know what? I just had this gut feeling because I fell into NXT maybe about 2 years ago. I got as a gift. It was NXT's Greatest Matches, and I watched them like that's just really fucking good. So I started watching as much as I could. I couldn't get too much of it at the time, but now that I have the network, I watch more of it. And I'm like, there's no way that I'm gonna have another negative show to talk about because I know going in this is going to be at least a B plus card,
Yeah.
just because of what they do, and 2.5 hours give or take, and you get 5 matches. That tells me that there's going to be good action. They're going to be quick matches, but not too quick, not too long, not dragged out. So I was really excited to sit down and actually watch this event, and I wasn't disappointed.
Mm-hmm. This is one of the better NXTs in a while. Not that they've been bad. They just kind of took a lull, and it's hard to keep on producing such a good show over and over and over again. So they're gonna have lulls every so often, and they
especially when you're using it as your
feeder
development.
Yeah.
So you're constantly like once a guy is well developed and you're like all in, no pun intended there, on a guy like look at like Kevin Owens, Finn Balor, Sami Zayn, all these guys that you were like so into, all of a sudden they're on the big show.
Yeah.
And now you have all these other guys who you don't know about that you're trying to figure out. But as long as these guys are putting on the shows that they're putting on, there's
the lull for me, I think it was because of the lack of story because of what you mentioned. So I think they called up a lot of the good young talent that they had up too fast because they want to see how they would do on the big show. And there was no story, and it was kind of like, well, in this instance, the main event is fought over in a rematch. The first one was a vacant title opportunity because I forgot who. I think Cien Almas was no. Ciampa vacated it.
Yeah, that neck injury.
They've had this feud between Gargano and Ciampa for over 2 years now. Cien Almas was thrown into the mix of champions and then called up right away after losing it. That's usually what they try to do. They usually try to call up someone after they lose it or held it for a while. So they did that with Finn. If I'm not mistaken, Finn came in, had it for like 2 years. And then towards the end of his NXT career, Kevin Owens came in. And Kevin Owens and him, or was it Samoa Joe?
Samoa Joe. He won the title from Owens.
So first it was Kevin. He won it from Finn, right? Samoa Joe.
Yeah, because Finn won it from Kevin Owens.
Yeah, so Kevin Owens was first. He had it for a while, and then they developed a very interesting story between him and Finn, where it went over to Finn, and then Kevin Owens transitioned into the main roster, and it just made sense. Then they did a perfect job with Finn Balor as well. Finn Balor held it forever. Eventually, him and Samoa Joe came to a feud. They both took wins from one another. Eventually, Finn taking 2 out of the 3 victories that they had against each other. And then Finn moves up. But I think one of the last ones was a loss. So then Finn moves up, or he might have moved up after a win. I don't remember. But Finn moves up after that nice rivalry, and Samoa Joe stays. Samoa Joe rivals with... See, after this is where it kind of gets...
A little murky waters.
Yeah, it gets a little murky waters. I think Samoa Joe gets called up as well not too long after this. And then Bobby Roode becomes champion. Almas becomes champion. Ciampa becomes champion. And then recently Gargano won the vacant one. So it kind of jumped hands a lot in there. And I might be forgetting someone too. But they just didn't develop any crazy good stories. They were more focused on the Gargano Ciampa one, even if it took them that long and it took them that much after injury, they were going to throw in a heel in order to stop Gargano from gaining it. And it builds up to when he
Right.
was going to face Ciampa. Ciampa's injuries kind of put a... They played it out as much as they could. And Ciampa won eventually, but then he was super injured. I think they wanted to continue that. But they couldn't. Ciampa's out. And then Gargano continues it with this heel. So I guess we'll get to that. But yeah, that's why it's taken a lull for me, in my opinion, because of that. But it's such a good product that the wrestling is there at the main events, even if the story isn't, even if it's just like wrestler versus wrestler for the title, and it's like, well, there's no story for the main event. It's just two good guys going at it.
Right.
The mid-carders carried the show a lot as well. They're just as good. Well, they're in NXT and they get brought up, but they put on just as good matches.
Yeah, you can almost tell when someone's not been called up and you're watching the shows regularly. You can tell, okay, like, why is this person not up there? Like, they need to work on their mic skills before they're called up, or maybe they're just missing the mark that little bit in the ring. Maybe they're selling something. Maybe they're trying to hammer out anything that needs to get hammered out, and they just want to get the best talent possible into the big show, which in a way benefits NXT because they get talent that should be main roster, but because they're lacking in something, they stay in NXT, and it helps that that product develop more and more because you get other people get to go up against a champion, or a rivalry gets extended and the fans win. The performers go next level in some cases, or they get the chance in a title match that puts their face on the map.
Yeah.
So
and it sucks, man, because I wish they wouldn't just purge the talent from here because fuck. Whenever I don't want to spoil alert for the ending, but I'm not going to. Whenever they switch championships or whatever, they pull up talent, and I don't know where I was going with that.
Is it so they switch titles and then before there could be a rematch or the story can continue growing that someone's been pulled up, or?
Yeah, and they finally had that with Gargano, and but I don't think they're gonna do that here. No, I got it back. I don't think they're ever gonna do that on the main event with these guys. Like, these guys are NXT,
Right.
and we've seen it happen a lot with the talent that gets brought up, man. Like, the only one that's really crossed over is maybe Seth. They gave Finn a chance, but he fucked up his shoulder right after the Universal Championship. So
Yeah, I never really got to see him, and then they buried Kevin Owens for the sake of Goldberg and shit like that. Like, yeah,
it's just
even what's his name?
those guys are super big, and it's just
Shinsuke. Even
yeah. Look at
he
Shinsuke.
Aside from Seth, I guess Samoa Joe with his U.S. title reigns and his main event status. Maybe him and Shinsuke are like 2A, 2B after that. Like, there's not a lot of Big E's had a pretty good run since going to the main roster, but I don't know. There's a lot of guys that if you told someone that they were in NXT, they probably wouldn't believe you, or they would have had just no clue that it had happened.
Mm-hmm. I don't want, and it sounds bad, but I don't want Gargano to go to the main roster. I want him to stay where he's at. It makes more sense for him to stay there. So it makes sense for him to go to the main roster for notoriety because it's on a major network. But for what he's good at and for his development and him to gain more fans and just, I guess, a pro wrestling aspect, he needs to stay at NXT. They're not going to let him do what he does there. He's going to be a small fish in a fucking big pond. And here he's the big fish in a pretty all right pond for him. It's not.
And I'm not mad at him and Cole having a couple of matches down the line like you used to see all the time. Like in the summertime when kids can step a bit later, they can watch pay-per-views more, they can watch these things. That's when you would see these rivalries really start to grow. That used to be like their WWE's big thing back in the day. Was summertime was huge rivalries. After WrestleMania, there's a bit of a lull. summertime it spikes up, and then it kind of dips back down towards the end of the year before our Rumble. This is the perfect time to use Cole and Gargano the next 2 months leading into SummerSlam.
Yep.
And I highly doubt if those guys are both in NXT, they'll probably do it on the NXT TakeOver show, obviously, before SummerSlam. But I wouldn't be mad if they were to start testing NXT championships on the main roster, like on a major pay-per-view. Like, just doesn't have to be WrestleMania, doesn't have to be every single one, but just sprinkle one in there at some point, like just to like get them the bigger audience and see what they get.
Yeah, and NXT UK is pretty good too. I think they're going to start doing those. I think it was a pay-per-view for NXT UK.
I just found out about the NXT UK the other day. I thought that the UK Championship was already part of NXT. I didn't know it was its own separate brand.
So they came first because they had I forget what it's called, what their organization was called over there. Jeff would watch it a lot. That's where Finn came from.
Oh, yeah, okay. No, I don't know the name of it, but I remember Jeff talking to me about it all the time.
So it kind of turned into NXT UK. I think all their good talent went to there, and then they introduced the NXT UK title into that to make it NXT UK because they had such a big base of UK talent that they're like, fuck it, let's just make a fucking NXT for them and keep them as their own thing. And they bleed them over into regular NXT, and they're going to start bringing them into regular shows, I would assume.
Yeah, because it almost, to me, when I was reading it, not reading, but when I saw it, that it was its own entity, my first thought was Raw, SmackDown, NXT, NXT UK. So why not, like, and I get it, because I think being filmed overseas and being filmed in America is obviously a little harder to do cross-promotional matches, but I think it's if they were to go 2 hours, I would say mix and match, like put some guys in and switch them around if possible. But it's like, I like the idea of developing talent also overseas because there's so many amazing European wrestlers that never really get the chance to break through until it's either too late for them or they've had to go to the States to do it. Now they have an opportunity on American, Canadian television to get exposure in Europe, which is pretty awesome.
Do you want an NXT Canada?
Nah.
I think they're doing NXT Saudi Arabia, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah, I heard rumors that they're...
I guess that makes sense because they got that 10-year contract, so at least they probably operate it for at least 8 years. Put the title on Mansoor.
Yeah, probably get us more familiar with their developmental talent over there. So,
and you know what? Like with AEW, WWE needs to figure a lot of things out.
Yes.
The more NXTs they can do, and then you can say to guys like Goldberg and The Undertaker and Brock Lesnar, don't get me wrong, legends of the game. Hey guys, it's been nice. We don't like you guys want to do behind the scenes stuff. You guys want to do your MMA. We have a lot of young talent that's going to give us a better chance to compete properly with AEW as opposed to just, hey, look, here's Hulk Hogan versus Stone Cold at WrestleMania 36. Like, yeah, because I feel like that's the progression that we're on. We're getting, like, it's just these, like we talked about last week, Triple H and Randy Orton again, Goldberg and The Undertaker is the main event. It's like you have all this talent. Like, why not mix it up a little bit? Put some young talent in there. Let them have fun, exciting matches. Like I love watching NXT right now, and I'm going to be checking out NXT UK and 205 also. I need to start following those two more regularly.
205 Live's pretty good too. I think I've been to 2 or 1 NXT. Definitely the one where Ciampa turned on Gargano.
Okay.
I was there at that one. That was pretty awesome. That whole event was awesome. But
that was TakeOver Chicago, or
yep, TakeOver Chicago. Yeah. So let's get into the card. This is in Connecticut, I believe.
1 second.
The Webster Bank Arena. Yeah, Bridgeport, Connecticut.
Yeah, Bridgeport, Connecticut.
Took place June 1st, 2019. Let's see. They had 2 matches before, which I saw them on NXT. this week. They usually save the first two for NXT the next week. And,
Right, they just do like an extra recording kind of thing.
Yeah. And then they do a recap of what happened the week before. So Keith Lee took on Kona Reeves. Kona Reeves plays a good heel. Super annoying smile. He's not a Samoan guy, I guess a Islander guy.
Okay.
And he's playing like the best in the world kind of thing, like I'm the greatest. Comes out like in a suit with no shirt under, with like gold chains. He's just annoying as shit. Keith Lee comes in with Bask in the Glory gimmick, kind of similar to Bobby Roode. So
I was gonna say that, yeah, like that glorious entrance.
I think that's the reason they got rid of Bobby Roode so fast. Because the entrance is kind of similar as well. There's like a light shining on him. So
okay,
yeah. So they had good matches, and then Mia Yim and then Bianca Belair had a match as well. But the first match to open up NXT TakeOver was Matt Riddle. For those people that don't know Matt Riddle from pro wrestling, you might know him from UFC or MMA. Stopped doing that because he was smoking a bunch of weed, got caught a bunch of times.
I was about to say, can you imagine a guy who ended up in a way with a better career from smoke? If marijuana's gonna ruin your life, he went from like opening the UFC to like getting like on the big shows of NXT. So he made a big jump, and it's all because he smoked weed. So smoke him if you got him, kids.
Yep, I'm doing it. This is a fantastic match. Great match to start off the show with.
Yeah, I wasn't too familiar with Roderick Strong. I knew Matt Riddle obviously because of UFC.
Roderick Strong is a Ring of Honor guy. I think he was an Impact as well.
Okay.
AJ Styles broke his neck with the Styles Clash.
Like it's like legit?
Yeah, this guy tucked his neck on the Styles Clash, and when you take a slam, you're supposed to tuck your neck like from a power bomb or a suplex or something, so you don't hit your head. And
yeah,
but with the Styles Clash, you get dropped on your stomach, you get face planted. So when he tucked his neck, he got crunched on his neck, and he had to have surgery. But he was a Ring of Honor guy, pretty popular in the Indies. Came over as a babyface, eventually turned on the NXT. I think it was the NXT champion. No, the NXT UK champion. I think it was the Bruiser.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. When he joined up with the Undisputed, I remember that angle now.
Yeah, he turned on the Bruiser, and they're like, "What the hell?" He's like, "What the hell? Why are you turning on me?" And then he fucking turned on them, and Undisputed won the. I think it was War Games. Yeah, it was a War Games match because they were all in there at once. And it was War Games, for people that don't know. It's the giant cage with the two rings inside the cages. With this time, it was 3 tag teams of 3 being let in. 1-1-1, 1-1-1. Taken from WCW for people that don't know about that War Games match. But yeah, Matt Riddle comes in. But even before the match starts, he kicks his sandals off, which he usually does at the crowd. Does it at Roderick Strong, which ticks off.
I like the barefoot look. Because to me, like he's like that bro.
Yeah.
So for me, the long hair, the bro mentality, even like the trunks that he wears, I really get like that surfer kind of vibe. Like he just like walked off the beach and now he's here to kick some ass. Like that's
bro.
Yeah. You know, he needs to team up with old school Zack Ryder, because that was Zack Ryder's thing for a while.
Zack's with Kurt Hawkins right now.
Yeah, they should. You know what? Zack needs to retire and become a full-time manager. Because wasn't Zack Ryder and Mojo Rawley, like they were like the bros or something like that? That was like a tag.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I mean,
the Hype Bros, I think that's what they're called.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so I mean, they have so many possibilities here with Matt Riddle. I was blown away by this match. I like the fact that I didn't know that Roderick Strong had a broken neck, and watching that, I never would have guessed that he ever had a broken neck. Like the things that he was able to pull off. Usually, you see guys like they come back, they're a little stiff, or they're like, you know, they're not really the same guy. And mind you, I haven't seen his before stuff. I can only go by like today and on kind of thing. But
there's not a lot of crazy stuff Roderick Strong does. He just does all the fundamentals pretty well. He's a fast-paced kind of guy, so
I think it's he sells good.
yeah,
He
he's a good
sells
seller.
good, and like you said, like the fast pace, like Riddle took a beating, but then when he was laying out the bumps, he was going he was able to like take a bump, get up, take a bump, get up. He was able to go, and he didn't like it was like I was like I said, a lot of these matches, I am seeing a lot of these guys for the first time, second time, still new to a lot of this NXT because I am new to the network. But man, seeing these guys go, it was like a great match to open up the card.
Yeah, if I had to rate this match, I'd probably rate it a 4.5 out of 5. There wasn't a lot left that they could do. They didn't incorporate really any weapons or any illegal moves or anything really.
It's like a straightforward match. Like what was the like like Almas and Baszler that we talked about last week. Just using their in-ring abilities to tell the story.
Yeah, and pretty much the story of this match was Roderick Strong dropping Matt Riddle on his back on the apron after. Well, the match starts off 5 minutes of offense, I think, for Matt Riddle.
Yeah, he starts off really strong.
Yeah, they go off to the outside, and then when they get on the apron, Roderick Strong reverses it a little bit, picks him up, and drops him on the apron, kind of injuring Matt Riddle's back from here on out, and him focusing on Matt Riddle's lower back and kind of core, I guess.
When I first watched it, I was like, "Ooh, that one looked like a little too legit to like at first," but like that just is the power of a good sell. That's all that was.
Yeah, no, it was really good sell. Yeah, and then they both kind of for the first 15 minutes trade off on very good offense. That's like 5 and 5, and then the last 5 are for Matt Riddle, and then 5 are for Roderick Strong. Kind of giving you good pieces of their offense, not everything, and then they kind of switch on and off for the other 5 minutes. I'm not too sure how long this match lasted. Maybe like 20 minutes.
I don't think it went that long. I think it was more on.
Actually, I have the time in front of me.
I want to say it was closer to like the 15 to 18 mark.
It was you're right. It was 14:45.
14?
Yeah, 14:45. So yeah, they kind of I guess I didn't really check the time. I thought it was longer than 15 minutes. But yeah, they trade off on and off, and then towards the end, Matt Riddle is having trouble pulling off his offense because of the back injury, and because Roderick Strong has been focusing on it with pretty good slams, pretty powerful slams. He pulls out good offense, man. He pulls off an Olympic slam, superplex off the top rope. He uses the post to stretch out Matt Riddle. That looks pretty. Yeah. It looks pretty legit. Let's see, anything in my notes? Nothing really. No, it was a fantastic match by both. A great mix of MMA combining into slams for Matt Riddle. He has that, and he likes mixing in submissions as well, like weird submissions, which leads into the I guess the finisher of the match. Matt Riddle's trying to pull off a twister, which I forget what they call it here. I guess it's his finishing submission moves.
Yeah.
And it's a twister, and they say he can't pull it off because of the core strength. His core's been damaged too much. So he starts landing elbows to Roderick Strong. He's like in a rear naked choke. He's got the hooks in rear naked choke position, but he's under the armpit of Strong. That's how you get the twister and you pull the head back.
Yes, yeah.
So he starts landing the elbows. Let's go the guard. They get up, but he's still holding that position where he's elbowing Strong. And he gets him into the Roderick, which is his version of a cradle tombstone pile driver. But I guess it would just be a cradle pile driver in this case because he's not the Undertaker, so the tombstone would only apply to the Undertaker.
And Roderick Strong, like when he was taking those elbows, I actually had like little flashbacks of those Travis Brown knockouts from oh, gotta be like 5 years ago when guys would try to take him down and he would land them to the side of the head. And like when Riddle was hitting those, like was very reminiscent to me of like those style of elbows.
Mm-hmm.
And Roderick Strong sold them like like the look on his face was like dazed, confused, like he was about to like pass out. Like I thought he was gonna get like knocked out from the elbows, and the referee was gonna call it like by a knockout or like a submission by knockout. I thought it was gonna be something different, like incorporating the MMA world into it, but they kind of kept that cartoon world alive with Roderick Strong. He is superhuman? He is hurt, but the elbows aren't going to finish him off. I really appreciated that.
I appreciate that these guys are in NXT and they do not use shin pads to kick each other in the chest. Matt Riddle he uses technique. I don't care how soft he's kicking him. That shin bone is going across the chest, no matter what. Touch anyone with the shin bone anywhere. That shit hurts. Touch them with it.
Ask Jessica I.
Well, yeah, dude. Like I bet she's still recovering from that shit. But
yeah, like those guys, like yeah, because like you were saying, like when you look at guys who give those kind of kicks, going back to like the Ken Shamrock to the AJ Styles to Shinsuke, these guys they have designed outfits or boots to kind of give that protection. But yeah, these guys, like you can see with Matt Riddle, his entire outfit is just the trunks, nothing else. Like that, like he's saying, like, look, there's nothing on me. Like everything I do, my body's doing. Like there's no cushion, there's no give.
Yeah. Like I said, there were, I guess, more high spots would have put it at a 5 to me.
Yeah.
And not that it was missing that, but like this wasn't like a perfect match or anything. It was a fantastic match, and like I said, 4.5 out of 5 for me, and a great way to start the pay-per-view.
I'd say of the 5 televised matches, I'd say this one. I'd probably say it's the 4th best. I would say, and I mean, and that's like they're all really interchangeable depending on like how like what I'm feeling. Depending on what I want to watch on a given moment, I would say this is probably like the 4th best match on the card, but not far off from also being number 2.
I was about to say, I'm like, this is probably my second. This is probably my second favorite one.
Like you said, like with respects to the high spots. Actually, no, you know what? I'm gonna change it. I'm gonna say it's probably my 3rd best overall.
I could see that. I would say 2, and just because they did limited high spots and no weapon interference or no shady business, no undisputed arrow coming in and fucking shit up. Matt Riddle didn't go blow.
I wonder if they had that advantage of having O'Reilly and Fish in the match and Cole in a match that these guys couldn't interfere because they couldn't risk them, getting a kayfabe injury from Matt Riddle.
Yeah.
They wanted all the Undisputed Era to be fresh going into their matches. So, yeah, and we talked about this ad nauseum time and time again. But like you look at time restraints, these guys got 4 minutes more than Finn and Almas got at the Super Showdown, and you see with those 4 minutes how big that can be when guys are able to tell that story just that little bit more, drag things out that little bit more. We've talked about over and over and over again, but these guys got 15 minutes, and if they needed all 15 minutes to tell the story as perfectly as they did, if they took away 2 minutes from this match, I feel like they would lose too much.
Yeah, no, that for time it was pretty good.
It was perfect. It was perfect. They got everything in. Yeah, they got they like you said. It started off with Riddle. Strong has the reversal. He takes advantage for a bit. Here's the comeback. They're going back and forth. There's your finish. Wrap it up. Bow on top. Like I don't think I could ask for anything more.
Next match after that was a fatal 4-way for the tag team NXT Championship. So they're vacated again because they brought up the Authors of Pain as champions because they didn't want to make them look weak, if I remember right.
Yeah, they don't want to have those guys lose and then bring them up to Raw. Like they wanted those guys to be like.
Which we haven't seen them for a while. I think one of them got injured, so
I
that left
think they
kind
made
of
their
a
comeback at um the Battle Royale,
okay.
the showdown. I think that was their return.
Yeah, so there was no one really in NXT. Well, there was a bunch of tag teams, but they brought in the War Raiders, and then they put it on the War Raiders, and the same thing kind of happened. The War Raiders kind of dominated. They didn't want to take them off the War Raiders, and they didn't feel like any of these tag teams were really in line to take it from them. Besides the Undisputed Era, which we've already seen, I think 3 or 4 times, if I'm not mistaken. They've won it a bunch. Bobby Fish and
Yeah,
Kyle O'Reilly.
yeah, they mentioned that a lot. How these guys are trying to become like the first tag team to win it. I want to say 4 times.
So
I think.
they've been kind of the staple there as the heel guys to take it off of the guys that are either going to move up or when we need titles to move on to somebody else. So this one is the Street Profits, Angelo Dawkins and Montez Ford, taking on Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch, versus the Undisputed Era, Kyle O'Reilly, Bobby Fish, and the Forgotten Sons, Wesley Blake and Steve Cutler.
Now, Forgotten Sons, Blake, is that Murphy and Blake?
Yes, with
Okay.
Alexa was their manager.
That's right. Okay, yeah, I thought he looked familiar, and when I
She's
saw
the most
Blake,
famous out of all of
yeah, well, for a lot of good reasons.
them. She's fine.
I think the only thing I'm gonna say I like, and this has been my problem with tag teams for a long time now, and I've mentioned this on the show before. Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch. Now again, I don't know a lot about these guys, but like they seem to be like a team that was just kind of like put together, and it's like if they had a name, I'd probably be like,
so I've been
I'd be
watching.
chill, but
You're right on the nose with that one. Oney Larkin and Danny Burch were two tough competitors that put on fantastic matches,
okay,
but I think they were a little bit too generic and didn't have a gimmick. So they
yeah.
decided to put them together and never really give them a name. Or
Oh, you know what? Honestly, Jeff, you can grab royalties maybe if this happens, but call them the Average Joes, and just give them like some like those old '90s style workout pants, kind of like have them just come down like, hey, we're still here, we're average, but watch, we're gonna be the best. You can, but yeah, it's like when Edge was champion with Hulk Hogan or Edge and Ray. It's just like you're putting two guys together and saying, we don't know what to do with you. You're a team right now. We'll deal with you guys later. Like they were good competitors in this match, but I just feel like them as a package were lacking something for me.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. I wouldn't have been surprised if they would have put the titles on them just because of how much work they've put in for the company and how like loyal they are, and they'll do the job. You need them to do the job, they're gonna do the job.
Right.
Yeah. So this was another fantastic
phenomenal
match.
ladder match.
Yeah. I wouldn't say better than any like the WWE does or the main roster does, because the main roster usually puts on a great ladder match, and they usually don't do more than they'll have like 8 people ladder matches now. They don't like doing less than that.
Well, I was just saying to a buddy of mine about this, like they're bringing in all these new talents and they're giving them ladder matches, and you're seeing a refreshing change to ladder match. You're not seeing like I grew up on TLC, but by like the 3rd, 4th, and 5th time that the Dudleys, Edge of Christian, and the Hardys were going at it, it's like, okay, like I've seen this every time now. And then it became like Jeff Hardy's going to have his high spot. Then Money in the Bank, that Shelton Benjamin's going to do something wild. There's always going to be like this. Now they have these guys who are doing moves with the ladder, doing moves off the ladder, doing stuff outside the ring. Like there's a lot more happening. The ladder's not used as much as it used to be as a weapon. It is used as a weapon at spots, but the ladder's main usage is almost like Razor and Sean. It's used to enhance a move. It can be used as a weapon if necessary, but ultimately it's there to get the big prize. And these guys used that format perfectly in this match.
Yeah. Let's see some high spots from this match. Kyle O'Reilly almost died a couple times, or got paralyzed. He was taking some spots.
He took some hits there.
One of the ones he was at least 3/4 of the way up on the ladder, and they kick it out, or they kick it over, and he jumps off, but sells it well, but he lands his back straight on the fucking ladder.
Yeah, it reminded me of that the Money in the Bank when I think it was Baszler was supposed to go through the ladder. The ladder was supposed to break in half, but it didn't.
Yeah.
And even the announcer goes, "Oh, he broke the ladder." I'm like, "No, he didn't.
Yeah.
That was a mistake.
Yeah.
They used the wrong ladder in that spot."
Yeah, and we got a good bounce from Kyle O'Reilly. He took probably two similar ones. One where he took a similar spot to this, but where he landed on Bobby Fish, where I was like, "Holy shit, someone got hurt on that one."
Yeah.
But no. At one time they threw a ladder at Kyle O'Reilly that almost hit him. But Kyle O'Reilly is probably the MVP of this match.
Yeah. I mean, they even had a couple good spots with you could see it coming when they set the ladder up, and it was just off center, where if you're watching it, you would think like, okay, they've been going at it for a while. They're not all there. They're just trying to set the ladder up and climb. But if you're a veteran of watching ladder matches, when there's that space between the ladder and the title, that there's gonna be a second ladder.
Yeah.
And the second that I saw that, I'm like, oh, here we go. And when they had those 4 guys up there, just go I can't remember who the 4 were, but they sold things so well.
Yeah. We had match start off with chaos. Everyone just going at it in the middle. Eventually, only 2 tag teams staying there. I forgot who it was.
I think it was
Undisputed Era, and Lorcan and
Burch.
Yeah. They're going at it on the inside, and the other 2 guys got knocked out after the other 2 tag teams got knocked out after all that chaos. Eventually, it all moves out to the outside, and Dawkins from the Street Profits goes to the top rope, takes out everyone on the outside. Everyone here was doing incredible high spots, and not even off the ladder itself, to the outside, just jumping over the ladder itself, kind of using it as a bar to go over that and the ropes. Montez Ford, one of the most athletic guys I've seen in a while. Super crazy, like over dramatic with stuff, but that's selling. If they tell him to calm down a little bit, that's not a bad thing. He can do it.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, dude, don't just tone it down a bit. We take it a little bit more serious, and he's super athletic. The selling might be a little bit, like I said, a little bit much, but it's
yeah. But I mean, look at Ric Flair. Ric Flair could sometimes you can oversell, you can make it work really good, but you have to do it for a long period of time, and you have to make it believable.
Yeah. So it's something that shouldn't be hard to change, to be honest. Something to work on. I don't think it's gonna be hard for him to work on that.
No.
To be honest, I could see him in the future moving up to the main roster and splitting up from this tag team and doing a singles run for himself. I could see him
on the main show.
Yeah, I could see him as a singles player instead of a tag team guy. Right now, it's good for him to see him develop here, because I've seen them develop from what they were before. They just used to wear like gym trunks, like just straight black gym trunks and like tank tops.
Right.
And like it was the same kind of gimmick. They've played it up a bit more, but now they're in matching things. They got chains and stuff like that. They got better
Actually,
shoes.
I don't know if you're familiar with
Prime time.
no, oh fuck, I'm thinking of Viscera, but it's Men on a Mission.
Mm-hmm.
Was it Dawkins? I think it is. Wears an outfit that reminds me a lot of that era, like that. It's almost a one piece. I don't know if it's one piece or two piece, but the tank top, the trunks, but it's that bagginess to it, and it just reminds me of them. They had something like left over from Men on a Mission that they're just recycling, like. No, it just kind of gave me like a little bit of a flashback, which I know I kind of was cheering for the Street Profits because of their getup, just because of that one reason. Like, stupid reason, no rooting interest in a lot of these teams, just enjoying the show. But like, the costumes what got me. Like,
Let's see. Yeah, they're all going at it, and eventually Jackson Riker comes out, a third member of the Forgotten Sons, or whatever the Sons of Anarchy wannabes.
that's what I was going to say. That's I kept on wanting to say that.
Yeah, so he comes out and he starts beating the shit out of everybody.
Yeah, he clears house quick, eh?
Yeah, he's a huge dude. Yeah, he kicks the shit out of everybody. But then they all decide to team up on him, and they kick the shit out of him. They all beat the shit out of Riker. Start slamming him with the ladder multiple times.
That was I forget who it was, but there was one guy as they're lifting up the ladder and slamming it on him. The one guy, he's standing at the base of the ladder, and he's putting his hands up and down, but he was behind, whereas they're lifting up the ladder, he was trying to catch it.
Yeah.
And then they were slamming, like he was off on his timing, and it looked really bad. But you could just, but that was like the only knock I think from this match is like this one guy just couldn't get his hands on the ladder, so he's just basically just like bowing down to everybody else.
Yeah, so they beat the shit out of Riker. Then let's see. Okay, yeah, they beat the shit out of Riker, throw him out to the outside. The Sons, I forget what they do to Lorcan or whatever, but the Street Profits are on the outside. So the Sons, the Forgotten Sons start climbing or one of them starts climbing the ladder. The other one's kind of playing defense at the bottom. Dawkins spears him through the middle of the ladder, and we got a badass spear from him.
That was
a badass spot.
Amazing.
Yeah, we got a badass spot just because of what's to come, and it leads into the finish. So he spears the defense out of the way, and then out of nowhere we have Montez Ford jump up onto the apron, jump up to the top rope, and springboard from the top rope to the ladder, punch off. I forget who. I don't think it was Murphy. I think it was his tag team partner, one of the Forgotten Sons.
Cutler.
Yeah, Cutler falls off the ladder. These guys just get it easy peasy. There's not a battle on top. He was just shocked that he got up there and he was like, what the hell? It gets hit, falls off. He gets the title. These guys celebrate, run into the crowd, act all crazy like they always do. The crowd loved it. These guys have been built in NXT for a while. I never saw them doing this with these guys, so when they won it, I was like, holy shit, no way. I thought they were going to do another Undisputed title run, but I'm glad they did this. It's a nice, fresh win for a new tag team to be shown on NXT as champions.
I thought that the finish might be one of the top 3 ladder match finishes under the WWE umbrella. Just because of for him to spear through that ladder, he had to be so perfect to not hit that ladder in any way.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. Like, it's not like saying like, hey, you have to make sure you hit me in the midsection between here and here. It's no, you have to go between the ladder. Like, you have an actual target that you have to get through and hit, and he nailed it. And the camera did such a good job on the spear that all you see is the feet landing on the ladder, and the camera shoots up. And you're like, what the fuck? How did he get up there? And the cell...
the finish was so good. Hogan was millions of miles away from this. He had nothing. He didn't even see this match because anything having to do with Hogan ends in a botched finish. This finish
Yeah.
was done to a T. It was,
And even like when you say like in ladder matches, it's like like you said, punch, battles, a finish, something crazy happens off the ladder. This one here, it was the shock of like, what the fuck is this guy doing here?
dude, the
That, was,
athleticism, dude.
that when he was punched, you could tell like he was just like oh, like what? I wasn't focusing. And then so that's why he falls. It wasn't because the one punch knocked him out. He was caught off guard by what he just saw. He goes down and like you said, easy peasy, gets the titles. But everything, like when I saw that spear and then the jump onto the ladder, like that, I don't think I don't know. I might have to go Sean Brett one just because of the iconicness of that.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know too many ladder matches that can compare to that kind of a finish. Just the finish itself, not the match start to finish, just the ending. I think that one, it's got to be a top 3 ladder match finish for me.
I'm just gonna say 5 stars.
100%.
5-star match.
This is probably my number 2 match on the card.
It seems like a general was dictating how this should go because they know what and how to sell stuff when you have when you have 8 different guys in this, meaning Triple H is in charge of this and he knows how to run a match and he knows how to tell a story within a match because he's seen it and he's been a part of this. Like he's been, like, not necessarily maybe with like in one of these exact matches, but he's been in so many different situations. Like he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, to have all 8 guys have a high spot, have all 8 guys be involved in a bump, have all 8 guys involved in the Riker angle, and well, I guess 6 guys technically, but to utilize all those guys to lay out the match where, okay, you guys are going to be out, you guys take over, then you guys sweep in, but like like it's very, very easy to have a guy get knocked out for 15 minutes of this match and then come in and get the title. Like you've seen that 1,000 times over. To keep these guys in a constant rotation of activity is a phenomenal achievement.
And it's easy to cluster up a match. Like I said, the generalship of this match was done very well.
Well, I mean, how many times have we seen in a ladder match, one guy puts the ladder on his head and just turns in a circle for 3 minutes and just knocks everybody down, and then he's too dizzy to climb for the title.
Yeah.
Like they do that almost every single ladder match, and this time here they're like, we don't really need to do that kind of a spot. Like I think there was one point where 2 guys had the ladder on and they're just like ramming into everyone before something happened where it was kind of broken up. But yeah, like it was like amazing ladder match, and a match that can go either amazing or terrible. These guys broke the amazing barrier.
Yeah, the only way I think they could have made it better is at the end, Montez jumps off the ropes, lands on the ladder, and then this guy's like, oh, what the hell? And then he punches him, he falls off, and then we hear bump, bump, ba-dum, bump, bump, ba-dum. And then Brock Lesnar comes out
with the Money in the Bank and says, "I want the NXT."
Yeah, and then he takes the NXT Tag Team Championships, and he's the Tag Team Champion.
That would have been
that would have been better.
That would have been, but I mean, we're not lucky enough to get Brock Lesnar winning 2 ladder matches. I mean, he's got his contract, right? He can only win. He can only if he wins a match, it counts as a match against his 5 a year. So.
Yeah. So this is how you do a fucking NXT, or this is how you do a ladder match, and this is how you do a finish, and it is worth the 5 stars. But I easily give it the 5 stars because of the shittiness that the main roster does these types of matches. Exactly like I just said, Brock Lesnar came out and won the Money in the Bank when he wasn't even part of the match.
Yeah, and that's it. Like that Money in the Bank ladder match from last month was a really entertaining match. And you think that Ali's going to win, maybe someone's going to prevent him from winning, and that maybe ends up being a reality, but it's a Brock Lesnar, and it's like, what are we doing here?
Dude, they could have worked on Ali for a whole year and had the fucking briefcase on them, and then when they were ready, pull the trigger.
Like remember, you remember like when Edge won it, when Edge won the first Money in the Bank, everyone's like, "What the fuck they getting to Edge for?"
Dude,
And you saw what he became when he was given main event status.
I'm like, this guy's a tag team guy. Like, what the hell? Like, I'm like, at best, he's intercontinental guy. All right.
His singles run was mid card, co-main event, if you would, position, but that's about it. But once you give a guy the opportunity to show what they can do, it's amazing what happens.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this is a great match, and I don't know really what more I could change off of it except from giving
Brock Lesnar the win.
Well, I was gonna say give that one tag team an actual gimmick and not just having their names.
Oh, okay,
but,
yeah.
And Brock Lesnar, obviously.
Or we could have some random guy that wasn't even part of the match come in and win.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
See, I wouldn't like even if it had been something like that. What the fuck was that pervert's name? Ellsworth, when he won the women's Money in the Bank for Carmella.
Mm-hmm.
If they had like something where like Riker wins the titles, he takes them down and hands it, and they kind of build a storyline off of that.
Yeah.
And be like, oh, he was in the match, blah, 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 or do like a freebird rule, like, have something switch it up. Like, I could see that. That would have been fun, maybe. But like I said, I can't really complain much about this match. I thought it was
I really enjoyed the clean finish, like I said, because of the shitty finishes we've been getting.
Yeah.
Let's see. Next match after did I rate it? Yeah, I said 5 stars.
You said 5, yeah.
Next match after that was the very charismatic, super flamboyant Velveteen Dream versus Tyler Breeze. Got dropped down to the NXT roster, and which it seems like a demotion for him and his character. It's really going to be better.
Oh, 1,000. I love him more here because now he has a chance to shine.
Yeah.
Is he still with Fandango? Are they still, or is that?
No, so that just recently got dropped because
it did. Okay.
Fandango has been injured. They were going with that because they wanted to push Fandango, and then these guys work together well. And the name Breeze Dango didn't work well. I didn't like it. They could have come up with something better. I wasn't against the gimmick.
No, their gimmick was amazing with the fashion police. Like, that's fucking brilliant.
You should name them the Fashion Police instead of Breeze Dango.
Yeah, right there.
They had it. They're just like, I don't know, Breeze Dango. But
Breeze Dango, the Fashion Police.
Yeah, Fandango's been injured, so this guy's just been doing nothing. And they're like, well, we're throwing him to NXT. They also threw Chad Gable, I believe.
They moved him back down?
Yes. They did him dirty because they got rid of his tag team partner, put him in a horrible gimmick. He got injured, and then
his career is like on the line right now. They're saying
he's got a neck injury that's pretty bad. They don't know.
Just like his father, Kurt Angle's neck injury.
Yeah.
Friends in the family.
Yeah. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
I don't think that's his real dad.
What are you talking about? They're both bald. They're both athletic. They both have neck injuries. I mean, come on. What else is there?
Well, the fact that we saw Chad Gable's
Jason
Jordan's real dad congratulate him when he won the NXT titles.
Stepfather. Or no. Well, actually, no. Real dad. Kurt Angle was just the sperm donor.
Okay.
He was the mailman that one day.
Yeah.
That one day the dad was working late.
WWE. You don't need these stupid storylines. Just fucking simple story, great match. That's the formula.
That's it.
But they're like, hey, let's tell a very complex story that doesn't make any sense. And who cares about the wrestling? We'll see.
Vince McMahon sitting in his office. No one watches NXT. We'll make Kurt Angle his father.
No one knows who Jason Jordan was. No one paid attention to NXT.
And Triple H is there just like, oh, Christ, Dad, come on.
Yeah, it's like, dude, we developed him so well in NXT. This tag team is badass.
Triple H, how many times a week do you think Triple H just puts his hand to his nose, squeezes and says, Dad, just please retire?
It's big enough to do it multiple times a day.
It's like, he's got to be saying, Vince, like, you've had a good run. Just go play some golf with Trump. I'll take over.
With that tag team, all they needed to do was put Kurt Angle as their manager.
Perfect. Almost like the greatest, world's greatest tag team, Benjamin and Haas. Like, they had a great...
Revive it.
It's exact same thing. Team Angle Part 2.
Everyone
Why
wanted
not?
it, and you know what they did? They're like, "Oh, you guys want that? We're breaking up this tag team." And Kurt Angle's Jason Jordan's dad. We're like, "What the fuck just happened?" They're like, "Wait,
You
wait,
have,
wait, wait."
1 second. You think we have a great idea? How about a left turn
Yeah,
that
yeah,
no
yeah.
one sees coming?
It's like that meme. Go back, go back, go back, go back.
Yeah.
No, we don't want this shit anymore. Like, but they went with that angle. Like I said, he got injured, and now we don't have Jason Jordan, and Chad Gable's back here with Tyler Breeze. But it's a match for the NXT North American Championship. It's a good name to put Velveteen Dream over and defend the championship one more time. Everyone, they weren't taking this title off of Dream.
No, not to. I think putting it on Tyler Breeze would be too easy because you have that argument of here's a main roster guy who's taking a step back, and so he should whip this guy's ass no problem. Kind of like if if Daniel Cormier were to go teach wrestling at a high school, you'd expect him to take everyone down. Like that's the easiest story to tell. You have a main roster guy going back, but here they actually had Tyler Breeze have to actually work his ass off and still fall just short, kind of thing. Which I almost the best match on the card. It's just too many false finishes for me.
Yeah.
That's the I think my one takeaway from this card as a whole, top to bottom, is the too many false finishes. I don't mind a couple here and there in the match, but when you have like 8 false finishes in a row, it's like a move, a pin. Oh, that's it. Kicks out at 2. A move, a pin. Oh, that's it. Kick out at 2. It's like, oh, okay, come on. Like, I can see what's gonna happen. Let's just not pin him.
Yeah.
I
like the finish. I like how it transitioned into the finish. I didn't like a couple of like inconsistencies within the match. Dream stopped the 10 count by going in and out, but Tyler Breeze stopped the ref. And I get what they were.
Right.
I get what they're trying to do, but they could have done it better than to shit on the rules that are established within every single regular match.
Okay,
You go in and out, and that's it. Resets.
That was my thing. It was like when the referee's counting, he's like whatever 7, and Tyler Breeze is like stop. He's like 8. He's like, I'm doing my job. I'm like, why doesn't he just roll in the ring and roll out? Because then the referee has to go back to 1.
Dream did it like
I'm
a minute ago.
Confused by why they were doing that. I actually kind of had a flashback to the Corbin and Rollins match from Showdown. I thought, is there going to be like a ref angle that's going to cost Breeze? Like why was he so involved with the ref at that point? It didn't make a lot of sense to me.
Yeah.
It still doesn't. I don't like if the ref got involved, it would have made more sense. But I don't know. They didn't even sell it as Tyler Breeze is like if the announcer said, why doesn't Tyler Breeze just roll out? He must be confused. He's been in a tough, grueling match. Like I would have bought that. Like if the announcers were selling it also in a way, but everyone just seemed to be all in on this whole. You have to stop the ref physically from counting to 10.
Yeah, that just it kind of took me out a little bit. Other than their match, we had I think just enough high spots in this from Dream. We didn't need that many from Tyler Breeze, even though that's not his thing. He's more of a power move kind of guy, not too much top rope kind of guy. Yeah. More of a striking kind of like more of those moves, suplexes. Germans. Those are more of his flashier moves out of his repertoire. Dream is really he could do whatever he wants.
He's every time I think I see a guy in NXT that's just like mind-blowingly athletic and entertaining, the next match just takes over. Like that ladder match. That ladder match should have been so hard to follow, but these guys made it look like it was the next chapter of a fantastic book. Like it was like these guys did everything. They kept my eyes glued. Like you said, like if Breeze was doing some more power move, Dream would reverse it on occasion and hit a real nice finesse move. Even if it was like a power move, he made it look finesse.
Mm-hmm.
He made it look just beautiful.
And to be honest, I wish, and I know it's a championship match, and I'm not trying to disrespect the women in any way, but I wish it would have switched spots with Shayna Baszler and Io Shirai because, well, I don't want to throw the lull on anybody, but after two fantastic matches, a 4.5 and a 5, it's really hard to fucking, especially with a 4 fucking way tag team match,
Yeah.
a ladder match before this. These guys just put on a regular match, told a story within the match for Dream's championship. Dream was taunting Breeze because he said he couldn't make it on the main roster. The lights got to him, and he wasn't going to let him get a standing ovation here because this was the last time he got it when he left NXT.
See, and I liked the card positioning because I felt it was like high, 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 and you just knew that Gargano and Cole were going to put on a fantastic match.
Mm-hmm.
That I feel like putting Baszler and Shirai in that Cole main spot kind of it allowed the card to not, don't misconstrue please anybody,
Mm-hmm.
it allowed the card to dip as opposed to having like high, high, dip, high. How do you follow that? Like you had to put on like a 6-star match in a sense to follow like a 4.5 that Dream and Breeze put on 4.5.
Yeah.
They would have to go like super over, and if they couldn't do it, then it might have just been another title match. I think following the Baszler and the Shirai match, it allowed those guys to kind of like have their regular match and make it look as good as they always have.
Yeah, like for me, it's looking at it in terms of them, and if I was Baszler, I wouldn't want to be in that. I wouldn't want to be in the 5 spot.
No,
but these guys did well enough, man. I'd probably give it a 4 out of 5. So
yeah,
I'd probably 4.5 and then 5, and then this one probably a 4. And just because of that mishap, it kind of really threw me off. And we saw 2 fantastic matches right before this, and I think it's just a matter of circumstances for this receiving a 4, in my opinion, just because of where it fell, the type of match it was, and the 2 matches we saw right before it. Fantastic match though. By itself.
I would say this is like I said, this would be my second favorite match on the card. It was just the too many false finishes that you could see coming. Like it's not like Austin hits The Rock with like a 3rd stunner, and you're like, that's it. And The Rock kicks out, you're like, holy. Or Brock Lesnar taking the 3rd tombstone. That's got to be it. No, like that. Okay, that's cool. But when it's a move, a high move and a pin and a quick kick out or something after, and it's done in quick succession. That's I think what hurt it was there was a lot of moves, quick pinfalls. Like Breeze would get like a devastating move and he gets a 2 count. He kicks out and then he gets up and hits his finisher. I'm like, okay, like who's hitting the power up button on the controller here? Because and for it to go back and forth that way, to me it took and I know that they want to get their spots in, and I feel like they tried too hard to get all their spots in. That being said, the finish was perfect. I think this finish was amazing. I wish that Velveteen Dream didn't have to have Velveteen or Dream in every single move, like the Dream DT and the Dream Valley Driver, like
and the
that.
Purple
I'm like,
Rain.
like that's kind of lame, but the rest, like the way that he pulls some of these moves off, the reversals that he gets, and hits some of these moves, like and he's such a good character. Like you want to hate him.
Dude,
because he's so arrogant and so flamboyant, but how? You can't.
How many times have you seen him?
Oh, a handful of times.
Have you seen him come in as Hogan? He comes in dressed as Hogan with the boas and he's black and white and he's got the belt and it says Dream on it, dude. You gotta see it.
I have to go look that one up. I was thinking of, when you said that, I was thinking of Black Machismo from
okay.
Impact TNA.
I might be mistaken on the color scheme, but it's definitely it's definitely Hogan, but he has got Dream right now. He's got the bandana. He's got the boas. It's awesome, dude.
Nice.
I forgot what else he's done. He's definitely done Prince, Jimi Hendrix
Right,
kind of
yeah.
vibe. I don't know what he was doing here. More of he's developing his own thing.
Yeah, I kind of liked it because it was just like I kind of like how we talked about Riddle flipping his shoes up into the guy's face. Here, when he stood there with his shirt and just went, and all the buttons like fly off. I'm like, that's perfect. It's like Hulk Hogan wearing a dress shirt. Like,
yeah, this guy's charisma is off the charts, dude.
he's so good.
Yeah. To be honest, I can see them making him vacate the title and just moving up to the main roster, but he deserves an NXT Championship run.
And I could see him being the kind of guy that goes to the main roster and just gets lost in the shuffle.
Yeah.
And that's the shame with NXT and with WWE's exercise is that there are so many guys that you're like, oh, I wish that they was it, but it's like, could they put Velveteen Dream in like an angle with like a Randy Orton or a Brock Lesnar? Because as long as those guys are around, they're going to be top spot. And if you want this guy to eventually be growing into that top spot, like you don't want to bring a guy up just so he's a feeder and that's it. And
it would be a shame for Dream to just fall like that.
If he were, unless they were to have enough NXT style talent which they do now, they do have a lot, but they would definitely have a lot of fun matches with him on the main roster. But like you said, I don't think it's right for him just yet. I kind of like this Tyler Breeze angle. I hope they kind of stretch it out. I'm going to say this again. I hope they stretch it out throughout the summer. This is the best time to have these kind of rivalries building up in that. Like, maybe a couple title switches here and there never hurts. Yeah.
November 23rd, I think they're coming. NXT's coming to Chicago, so I might check that out.
Oh, CM Punk's big return.
What? I missed out on tickets for AEW. They sold out.
Oh, fuck. I heard everyone did. It was like, what, 15 minutes or something?
Yeah, something ridiculous.
Stomping Grounds went on sale for over a month and still can't sell out.
Hey, maybe I'll do a Fight Companion. Yeah, Stomping Grounds have been out forever.
Stomping Ground ain't going to go. AEW's like, Stomping Ground, that's nice. Check this out.
Yeah, sold out.
That's what they should just call it. AEW All In, sold out.
Yeah. Sold out. Let's see. Next match after this. Velveteen Dream retains, in case I didn't mention it. Next match after this was Shayna Baszler defending her championship against Io Shirai. I think that's how you pronounce her name. This match has the unfortunate spot of being... Well, you know what? It doesn't have the unfortunate spot. It did it to itself. This is a competition to put on the best fucking performance. I'm sorry to say, they were probably and it wasn't a bad performance. They put on a good fucking match.
They did, yeah.
It was a really good match. This is main roster type of match you want to put on. They have a good story where Io is defending her friendship with what's her name, the Pirate Princess. Pirate Princess got her hand fucked up by Shayna Baszler. Shayna Baszler had a rivalry where they took 1-1, or Shayna took 2, and Kairi Sane, that's her name, took the championship once. She's the Mae Young Classic winner, the first one.
Yeah, that was at WrestleMania NXT, right? Oh no, that was the Fatal 4-Way. There's Ember Moon was in that too. Yeah, never mind.
So awesome match. I would probably give it like 3-5. It's still a good match. It's
the worst. It's the worst match on the card for me, but I'm not saying it's a bad match. You said, it's just it. When you do if you want to give a ranking to things, eventually something has to be last. And I hate doing it to Shayna Baszler because if her mic skills were better, she would be Raw or SmackDown's Women's Champion. And she is, I don't want to go too extreme, but she's about 1,000 times better than Ronda Rousey in the ring. Like, this girl has been through the ringer. She's not just taking a year off from getting her ass kicked, and then just I want to be a wrestler now.
So
This girl's been working at it for years and years, and it shows. She's got if Shayna Baszler's mic skills were a little bit better, she'd be main roster for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But she's just missing the mic skills is the only thing that's holding her back.
And those could come. Those could come with time.
Yeah, oh for sure. We've seen it happen.
Yeah.
Or just give her a manager.
Yeah,
give her someone who can talk.
This was a match that needed mic skills on both ends. EO had Gargano's wife in his corner. I forget her name off the top of my head.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Shayna had her two buddies,
the horsewomen.
Let's Play and Let's Fight.
They're still calling themselves the Four Horsewomen, even though Ronda's gone. I love that.
Yeah. No, she's on impregnation vacation.
She'll be back in 3 years.
Yeah. No, you could definitely. Ronda's picked up pretty good in the wrestling, but you can definitely see how Shayna's been doing it for a good time more.
Well, I remember when she was. I mean, Shayna going back to be on not Tough Enough. Sorry, Ultimate Fighter. Back in 2012, and she had talked about training in professional wrestling on the side. So I mean, she'd been doing like while she was an MMA fighter, she was training wrestling, and I mean, I'm gonna say she's got to be one of the top competitors. When you see your Shamrocks, your Severns are probably your upper echelon. Then your Lesnar's, your maybe your Kurt Angles, and then into like like a Ronda, Shayna Baszler, Matt Riddle, of guys who have done martial arts that have then turned it into wrestling. She's climbing the ranks as being one of the best to mix it together and be able to use a real MMA moves and make them look legit while they are kayfabe.
I've seen her sell a suplex into her finisher, the rear naked choke. Yeah, she just abandons the suplex like in the air, and like as they're dropping, kind of positions herself to.
She's so good. Like if you had told me that she was if you had told me that she, and I knew nothing about MMA. If you told me she was a mixed martial artist, I would say I could see that because she's not just putting in a chokehold. It like she's doing the actual like positioning of the arms. It's not just like a sleeper hold of old. Like these look like legit moves, and they're just. She sells good. She tells a good story. I just wish her mic skills were better so that she could make the jump to the next level.
Yeah. We'll see what comes with that.
What did you think about the ending to this one? I felt it just fell really flat. Just it kind of reminded me of like the Bret Austin with the sharpshooter just holding on for that choke. Just seemed to go on a bit too long.
Yeah.
I mean, they had Shirai try to get away, and they just always being stopped. But it was just I don't know. I felt like they were leading up to her breaking out. And then she just tapped. I was like, okay. That to me was just like a very weak finish, like a long build up just to end it like that. It was like I thought we were gonna have more. But...
Even the build up to the finish, it's like we had the horsewomen come out, and then we had Candice LeRae, Gargano's wife, come beat them up because they were coming out to fuck with the match, but they were barred from ringside or whatever. But yet they still came out. And kind of caused
a Nintendo stick.
Yeah, they took away from. I guess they distracted EO, and then it let Shayna develop a little bit of offense, which led to the finish of her locking in that submission hold, switching side to side, kind of EO struggling, and Shayna eventually getting it, retaining her NXT Women's Championship. Like I said, I'd probably give it a 3.5 out of 5. Which isn't a bad rating, to be honest.
No, I mean, people say 4 stars are what you want to strive for because 5 is like the perfect match. So 3.5 is right there. It's right at the cusp of being like an A match. It was a good match. It just happened to be lost in a very good card. And I mean, it just sucks that they are good enough to be in that position. I guess like it's unfortunate that they are combing status, I guess.
Yeah.
You almost want to be the opening match because I'm sure Riddle and Strong would have been a 3.5 if they were in the same position because of what built up into it.
To be honest, it would have been a stair build up. And we got like a lull here, and if you mixed it up how you said, it probably would have been. But you can't predict those things. It's like I said,
There's
they're
the
all
audience. There's
they're all
there's a lot of
competing with each other to see who's putting on the better match. I'm pretty
yeah.
sure I would. That's how I'd be.
I wish Baszler would lose that mouthpiece though.
Yeah, yeah.
Like that to me, I'm just like, especially when she wins and she takes it out
You seen what happened to Cesaro though,
and
right?
it puts it back in. Oh yeah.
He people don't remember what happened to Cesaro. He wears a mouthpiece now because he got slingshotted, I think, or it was something where he got launched into the turnbuckle.
Yeah, and he didn't hit it perfectly.
He smashed his face into the turnbuckle and smashed his teeth into his gums,
Mm-hmm.
knocked his teeth out, and he had to get that fixed.
Not fun.
Nah. Leads us into our next match, the longest match of the night, 32 minutes. Adam Cole taking on Johnny Gargano. Johnny Gargano, NXT champion, defending his championship here. 5-star match.
Yeah.
I'd want to give it more, but that's the scale.
At the lowest, I'd say 4.5. Like
Yeah.
it was it was everything from their first matchup for the title amplified because now there was a true champion. It wasn't just a vacant title. Now, like this guy, like Cole's coming for that guy that beat him for the belt, and now like that's the story that they wanted to tell. Gargano wants to prove himself as he wants to solidify his status. He wants to be a champion.
Mm-hmm. Boom! Adam Cole captures the NXT Championship.
Baby.
Yeah, baby. Michael Cole's son, which is probably an angle they're going to cut later on when he moves up to the main roster.
No, it's Kurt Angle's other son.
Yeah, Kurt Angle's other son. Everyone's Kurt Angle's son.
Kurt Angle just running wild in the locker room.
Everyone
back
trains
in
on
the day.
everybody, bro. Man, these guys went hard for 32 minutes. There wasn't really any dull points within this match. I can remember like front flips that would lead into sunset flips off of the top rope, like just crazy moves that these guys were pulling off.
Well, and I think the way that I look at this match is 32 minutes long, and it felt like a 10-minute match.
100%.
Whereas Triple H and Randy Orton went 32 minutes, and it felt like an hour and a half.
Mm-hmm.
And that's these guys sold their story. They told it in the ring. They did there was the break when it had to happen. It was like back to back reversal after reversal, high spot. Like it was everything you wanted them to do that you don't know if they're going to be able to get in, but they got it in. And that's to me the big telling point is the fact that when guys want to make sure that they tell the story right, and they want to get everything in, and they want to do it in a proper order, and that's what they did. It wasn't like I was saying with Dream and Breeze, they wanted to get everything in, so it was just like, okay, well, you do this and pin me, then I'll kick out. You do it. These guys are like, hey, you do this, we get in, we get out, blah blah blah. We do this, we get in, we get out, blah blah blah. They told it the proper way. These guys on the main roster for the WWE title or the Universal title, whatever, I'm all in on it. But because these guys know what they're doing.
Yeah. Gargano's been doing it for a while on the NXT brand. He's another guy that would not benefit from going up to the main roster. I think they've kept him there for a long time now. Let's leave him there.
Yeah.
He's not going to be used well on On the main roster at all. He's not going to be put up for any major titles.
No, he'll be like Finn without the Intercontinental title or U.S. title reign. He'll be a guy that fights like a Lashley, but he instead of having a good match, he'd be squashed.
Yeah.
You could see because of how well he sells power moves.
Yeah, best they'll do for him is 205 Live if they move him up. But keep him at NXT, man. It's such a good show.
Why not?
Yeah.
I mean, these guys have a story to tell still.
Yeah, like you were mentioning earlier, these guys can put on another at least one more match. We had Gargano winning the vacant, Cole taking the second match, taking it from Gargano, not letting him defend it, and now we can have Gargano win it. And it's probably inevitable.
Coming up, NXT TakeOver Toronto.
Oh, nice.
It's coming up in August. Nice. So I mean, as far as I know, they're because if they're sticking to their SummerSlam NXT the night before,
yeah,
SummerSlam's in Toronto, so it's got to be TakeOver Toronto or in an area nearby.
Makes sense.
Fuck, TakeOver Kitchener, guys.
Makes sense. What is that? Right by you?
Yeah, I'm in Kitchener. I'm like the Toronto's like an hour away.
Nah, it's not that bad.
No, it's
because I got to drive to Allstate, which is like 45 minutes away.
Oh, really?
I'm lucky because United Center's right here, but WWE doesn't do it here. UFC started doing it here. Bellator does it at the Allstate, and WWE does it by the Allstate, which is 45 minutes from here, or like 35 minutes.
Yeah, there's
Southside.
TakeOver Toronto is confirmed, so August 10th.
Oh, Sox and Cubs are going at it for the baseball people.
Baseball peeps.
Yeah. I root for Chicago, so.
Yeah. Just doesn't matter the colors.
Yeah, I live on the south side, and my dad he came from Mexico being a Cubs fan, so.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he got here, and he just liked the Cubs. He's like, they're a Chicago team.
South side, Cubs side, or?
Nope, south side is the Sox side. North side is Cubs. North side is Cubs. So I live on the south side, and I to be honest, if they were, because they could wind up at the World Series. So here it is, guys.
Yeah, they could play each other. That'd be something, eh?
Yeah, here it is, guys. If they were at the World Series, I'd probably have to root for the Cubs.
You just get a hat that says C, and it's like a black hat with a red lettering.
I had a black hat with white lettering, which is a Cubs hat.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, so Sox colors. But I do have a non-worn official Cubs 2016 championship hat.
I got the 4, 7, 13, 18.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I really didn't care for it because I had been away from baseball for so long. I used to watch it when Sammy was around when I was younger.
Baseball's been in my family for years. My dad's been a Red Sox fan his entire life, so I grew up an Expos fan. When the Expos left, I was just like, well, Dad likes Boston. I guess I'll like Boston too. I mean, I don't know what else to cheer for. So
yeah, my dad makes me look up stats and tell him when they're playing all the time, and put the TV on for him so he can watch. So I know what the standings are. I used to keep up with it a lot more, but like I said, once fantasy came around, it stopped being about individual teams and started being about. I know more than you about this because I need to keep up with it for my fantasy team. I'm like, look, dude, I don't care. I like the Cubs. I like the Bulls. I like the Bears. All right, the Bears.
Da
Bears. And then everyone just started like, oh, I like every team. I'm like, all right, cool. Fuck you. You can't win. You can't win all.
No.
Ryan, you can't go for Boston. Sorry, you got the Blue Jays. That's your team. That's how I play. Those are my rules.
See, when you cheer for a Quebec-based team, you can't cheer for an Ontario-based team thereafter.
So Expos.
I was exposed through and through until they moved.
National, sorry. That's your new team. Sorry.
Fuck that shit.
Hey, I don't make the rules, Ryan. I don't make the rules. I rooted for the Cubs in the drought for forever. That was my team, bro. The Bears, I wasn't born when they won a championship.
What year were you born in?
88. I missed it.
Oh dear Christ! You missed it by 2 years. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we almost had it. We were even up by a fucking touchdown
Against the Colts.
Yeah.
That's when I became a Peyton Manning fan.
Uh,
I love how we always do this. Whenever we talk about a 5-star match, we always end up on something else. But when we focus on other matches, it's like just right to it, no problem.
I don't think there's really much to say on this match.
No.
They had a lot. They did a lot of everything. They did a lot of everything.
You know, I can see them doing another one. I can see the story, like you were saying, like it's a forever match. It's 1-1. They have a story to tell. Why not set it up for the TakeOver Toronto, and then if Gargano takes it, maybe they go one last time at War Games. They put like Undisputed against a bunch of champions and see what they can. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is better than WrestleMania.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like these guys had 5 matches and they killed a 7-hour pay-per-view. They crushed it. In 7 hours, WWE couldn't put together something that in 2 hours they were able to do, and and it just goes to show you that it's all about utilizing your timing.
Mm-hmm. I'd probably give that match 5 stars out of 5. 5-star frog splash that bitch.
Yeah, best match by far of the card. I was watching it last night with Kara, and I recorded. I didn't see it live, and I recorded it last weekend, and they didn't switch the time constraints, even though it's now been a couple weeks old.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the the recording, the match wasn't done, and Gargano had just kicked out of a move, and they had just played on that as on like a broken record.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck's happening? It's like 1, 2, kicks out, 1, 2, kicks out. I'm like, the fuck? I thought, like sometimes you see a guy pins him, and then when he kicks out, he goes for another quick cover.
Mm-hmm.
I thought they're doing something like that, but after the 7th time that it happened, I'm like, guys, something's up with the recording right now.
Yeah. The finish ended with Cole calling in Undisputed, but Undisputed didn't come in, so it distracted.
Gargano.
Yeah, and he had like a chair, and he was like, "Come on, then, come on," like waiting outside. And then once he went inside, this guy stopped playing like possum and landed his finishers.
Speaking of chairs, one thing we didn't touch on that Baszler and Shirai was that the ending there after the match.
The moonsault with the chair.
The moonsault with the chair took me back to like Terry Funk in the ECW days when he used to do like that moonsault with the chair.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I don't know if they'll do it, but I kind of want them to do like I guess not a hardcore match, but like a no disqualification match for the NXT Women's Title next.
Oh, that's coming next because
they have
Shirai beat the shit out of her with the kendo stick. I don't think we mentioned that either.
No, yeah.
After the match.
Yeah, and it's like I think that those two could sell. I think that's the only way that they could get the title off of Baszler and make her look strong is through needing to whoop her ass with a chair and a kendo stick and a table and ladder and whatever else you can get your hands on, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But
for pay-per-view for a takeover, 5 stars
easily.
Yeah.
There was, I mean, like I said, like the dullest moment was that women's title match, and it not a bad match. It's just it's just a low point on the card that was top to bottom ridiculously well put on by all those guys.
Yeah.
Like main roster, watch NXT and get some ideas. Like look at the and I feel like I'm being unfair because I mean like Seth and Finn and Samoa Joe, these guys can put on good matches. but they're being stuck with Ray, with Lesnar, with Lashley, with the Undertaker, like with Goldberg. All these NXT guys are getting put with these legends, and they don't want to give the legends the loss necessarily. And I feel like that's just killing a lot of the young talent. And if they were just to say, you know what, we don't need Lesnar to win Money in the Bank. We can have Seth Rollins and Ali, or we can have AJ Styles and Ali, or AJ's not the champ. It's
Kofi.
Kofi. Sorry, yeah, thank you. Like you could have those guys take on this young talent, and they would be phenomenal matches. And you see the possibilities here, and it's so angering the fact that WWE could have A+ product on their main roster and A product on their secondary rosters. But Lesnar's a big name, so let's keep him going while these other guys waste years of their life and they go to AEW and you can't figure out why your ratings are dropping.
Yeah. Well, Brian, I think that brings this episode of the Full Heel Podcast to a close. I want to thank you for joining me and helping me break down yet again another pay-per-view. Any last words for the show, for the viewers, for the peeps, for the donkeys?
I'm gonna get me some chips and dips, and we're gonna party all night.
I just want the chips. Just bring me the chips. I want the chips and the dip.
No, honestly, once again, thank you for having me on. I love doing these shows. Now, I'm expanding a lot of different like storylines, like you talked about doing old WWE. For me, the old WCW kind of grows my knowledge on those things, and now I'm getting with the now subscribing to the network. I am getting more exposure to 205, to NXT, to the
you're getting haters out there too.
So what's that?
You're getting haters out there too.
Yeah, haters gonna hate.
Yeah, that hashtag.
No, yeah, I love it. It's fun. I'd keep doing them. You put up the bat signal, I'll always answer. So, yeah.
I do this, and we do this because we love it. I hope you guys love it too, enough to share this, tell your friends about it, rate and review. Like I said, hundreds of episodes, thousands of hours of content. Me having conversations with my buddies. Upgrades will be coming soon. I just need to save up a little bit of money now that I paid off my car. I want to get better cameras over here and over there. I need to buy a better computer so it can process all this shit and I can start video editing other stuff. But I want to keep growing the show. Like I said, this isn't going to stop. I'm going to keep going. Can't stop, won't stop. Bad boy for life. But that doesn't mean I do not want to monetize the show. So I'd really, really greatly appreciate it if you guys, like I said, share the episode, tell your friends about it, rate and review on iTunes. It really helps out the show on iTunes. Like I said, hundreds of episodes, thousands of hours of content. Me, 8 of my buddies from Chicago, 1 from Michigan, 1 from Canada, talking shit about WWE, UFC, MMA, Bellator, AEW, ECW, NWO, WCW. Just drop your comments, leave your suggestions, and we'll take them into account. Let me know what you guys want us to talk about in regards of wrestling, UFC, and stuff like that.
I never realized that I'm the Toronto Raptors of the Full Hill Podcast. Like, I got an entire nation I'm representing.
Yeah, bro.
Like,
this show's international, right?
Yeah,
Full Hill Podcast is international.
It's like Canada. Step your game up. Let's give this guy some likes. Let's give this guy some shares. Spread the love.
Yeah. Listen to Ryan, the Canadian ambassador to the Full Hill Podcast.
Come on, a world champion also. Come on. Don't take that away from me.
Yeah, world champion. I think I newly have a download from a different province. That's what they call them, right? In Canada?
Province.
Province?
Province.
Not provinces?
Providence, that's in Rhode Island.
Okay.
We're just Providence.
Rhode Island. All right. Quebec. Someone from Quebec downloaded the podcast.
Oh, mon ami, comment ça va?
British
Here we
Columbia
go.
still in the lead for downloads in Canada. Yeah. So I want to thank Canada, but keep sharing, keep rating, keep reviewing. Thanks, Ryan. I'll see you next time on the Full Heel Podcast.